fucking useless technology. You can't trust it, eh? All right. Hi, everyone. It's Louis from the admin page again. Sorry, Facebook appeared to have completely disconnected us, but we're back online now.
Yep.
Wayne, do you want to hit off from where you were?
Well, you better start me back to where I were. I was in the middle of a big heap of stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, you were talking about voting and the voting system. It's about as corrupt as you can get. It must go back to state by state. And then I told you about the preamble to the Constitution, which establishes the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is the people, and the states are the people in the states.
Yeah, and on all of that, I can't find any form of referendum that allowed the government to enter us into that ugly cult of a thing known as the United Nations.
No,
Can
well,
you shed any light on that?
Yeah, well, they can't. It's as simple as that. They need a referendum, but that would have to be put from the people to the governor or governor general in this instance, and then the governor general would have to propose a referendum to get permission off the people to do it after we got full disclosure of what the United Nations was. But at the end of the day, when they dealt with the United Nations, they would have to sign up to the treaties and bring them back to Australia and individually go before the people in the form of a referendum. Now, it was Michael Kirby in the High Court that said, and I'm trying to think, I think it was cable number 2 or cable itself. No, I think it's cable number 2. He wasn't involved in cable originally. He said that none of these agreements made outside of Australia can be ratified here without a referendum. It's as simple as that. We, the people, are the Commonwealth. It's not the government. We never gave them permission to join the United Nations. We never signed the Treaty of Versailles. That was Billy Hughes without permission of the people. And there's all sorts of stories about he got permission off King George or some other crown. He can't. The crown is bound by laws made to the Constitution. The Constitution binds the crown in the area of its authority. There's no excuses. There's no way around. Even if Britain joined the United Nations and told us to, we can turn around and say, go home, Pom. You can't do nothing. Our Constitution binds the crown, and it can't be changed except by us. But that is only an alteration. We would have to propose a republic. It can't be done by the people who represent us. They're not representing us if they're proposing a complete change to our political system and our Constitution and everything else to give them authority over us. I mean, in the court in Western Australia, a perfect example of total stupidity is 3 judges pulling wheel on a bus. They're not judges, they're quorums, which they're not real judges. They just pretend. No, so we just pretend they're fairies sitting there, and that makes you laugh. That's good. These 3 sat there and said the government passed a law, number 88 of 1979, added local government to the state constitution, which forces them to have local government. How can a government that represents the people pass a law forcing itself to have a separate section of government that's not even in our constitution? How does it force itself to do that? What a nonsensical, stupid thing. That is stupid. Why would you do that? You've got to be insane to do that sort of thing. It is just utterly stupid for a parliament to pass a law making itself do something. What a fairy story is that? Where the hell did that come from? You know,
just on the subject of laws.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a unique topic, firearms and weapons legislations. I believe every single state and territory has its own firearms act and regulations.
Yeah. Yep.
From what I can tell, the Constitution doesn't actually have a lot in regards to firearms. So where do people please stand with that? Does the government actually have the constitutional power to remove our right to firearms?
Well, look at your laws of good governance. It says every state constitution says the government can pass laws for the good governance and well-being of a state. they only continue subject to the Commonwealth Constitution. So your state constitutions say that. Then you go to your Commonwealth Constitution. It says, subject to this Constitution, the Commonwealth can pass laws for the good government and well-being of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth Parliament can, or Federal Parliament. That's fine. Now, you go to Clause 3 of Magna Carta. It says you can carry a weapon for your defence, defence of your wife, defence of your children, defence of your property. They've always had the same argument, and to a degree I agree with them, that it's no guns in there. So what? But it says weapon. Does it describe a sword? So we can't carry a gun, but we can carry a razor-edged sword and a crossbow and all those things because they were around when Magna Carta was made. Is that the case?
I actually believe that they're actually classed as a weapon under the firearm. I know here in WA that they're classed as a...
Well, they reclassed them a couple of years ago, crossbows as a weapon, and you had to have a license. But if you had one before then, they can't go retrospective. I've got one. I've had it for years. I don't care what they say. It's stashed away. If I want to use it, I'll pull it out and use it because I'm not breaking any law. They can't go retrospective. The Constitution is very clear on that. You can't make a retrospective law. Am I a suitable person to have one? Yeah, of course. I wouldn't shoot one. They said, oh, you assaulted the council ranger. No, I didn't. I assaulted an employee of a company who was chesting me on my property. So the magistrate ruled against me. Boo-hoo. Cost me $1,000. Best grand I ever spent. The only problem is I didn't get to kick his head in. I just pushed him back to his car, sat him down, put his feet in and told him to get off. He accused me of squashing his feet. There was no marks. He just lied. He was just a lying little specimen who worked for the council. So I went to court. The magistrate wouldn't let me ask him questions, wouldn't let anything because he'd got instructions he had to convict me. They'd already taken all my guns and everything off me because somehow they thought I was a threat to them. If I was a threat to them, I could have had them wiped out years ago. Not a problem. A lot of people want to wipe them out. I don't think violence is the answer. If we can't take this country back the same way it was taken off us through legislation, there's something wrong with the people. If you can't express yourself strong enough in English language, telling your politicians, get off your backside, do the job we pay you for. We didn't give you permission to just take things without courts. I mean, yeah. I said to the secretary of the local member today about it, she said, oh, the Act gives them permission. I said, an Act can't take away a judicial function of the court. And she said, oh, yes, it can. I said, no, it can't. Where does it come from? Oh, it's in the Constitution. I said, no, it isn't. You have no idea. I said, besides that, why did they let me go through 4 days of court case and then the judge told him he couldn't deal with the land? Oh, but the Act says they can take it. Nonsense. Chapter 3, Section 76, page 791 of the Constitution says when a dispute arises between two parties, only a court can decide. I disputed it. How did the court decide? It didn't. It couldn't. Because land is out of the jurisdiction of a magistrate's court, and even if it was in there, it would have to be under $75,000, which is a limit under Western Australian law, Magistrate Court Act. Even though the Act is invalid, it doesn't matter. It still has a limitation of $75,000. It's a court of petty sessions. That court can't actually have a hearing. It can't. See, people don't understand the court. When you go to court, they say, you've been charged with this. No, you haven't. There's an allegation. You've committed something, speeding, whatever. It's an allegation. There's no charge there. Now, when you go back to the Local Courts Act, which I got a copy of 1904, which comes from the imperial law, it should be in accordance with the imperial law, and to a degree it is. It states in there quite clearly, if you dispute that allegation, they have to, whoever the accuser, if it's the police, must put the full case to the court anyway, and then at the end of it, you plead guilty or not guilty. How can you, if someone says, oh, you were doing 98 in the 60 zone and you weren't even there, how can you plead to that? That's not a charge. That's an allegation you were speeding. Why don't the police put their whole story to there? because they know they can't substantiate it at any time. They can't. And sometimes they can if they catch you or track you down. Fine, I got all that. There is laws. You can't speed. That's not what I'm talking about. When you go to court, it's an allegation. You're not charged until they put every bit of evidence they're going to rely on at trial. You plead guilty. If you are guilty, you pay the penalty according to law. That's the end of the magistrate's job. If you plead not guilty, and I'm talking about under the Statute of Monopolies and the Local Court Act of 1904, then it must be on indictment. Why have they taken it out of there? Because upon indictment, you can have a trial by jury, even for a speeding fine. Even for a speeding fine. See, I got nailed for speeding, and I used Pythagoras' theorem, and I proved the position of the camera in relation to the car on the road. The speed was 25% inaccurate. You don't have to be too bright to do the maths on that, unless you don't know about Pythagoras' theorem, 3, 4, 5 method, finding a right angle. 3 meters against 4, 5 meters across on a diagonal, 20% difference. They reckon their binary picks it up. But see, that's off the edge of the road. Your car's not sitting on the edge of the road, it's sitting out further. It's moving from side to side and up and down with the bumps of the road. It can never be accurate. So how do you say that that camera is accurate? It's not. So what did they do? They passed the law, Section 98 of the Road Traffic Act, and said the speed camera is deemed to be prima facie evidence of an offence. How? How can it be prima facie evidence of an offence when it can't be proven to be accurate? Because it's not, and never can be. There is not one camera in this country that can record speed accurately unless it's mounted on the front of a car riding up and down with it and does it that way. And how can that work when it's travelling the same speed? It's not possible. So use your brains. Why do we have to have 3, 4, 5 Ks over the limit when the Australian standards on measuring equipment says 8 Ks at 60 Ks an hour before they can book you? Why? Because the diameter of your tyres, the difference in your geometry of your setup, your speedo-driven gears, everything equates to that percentage. And it goes up by 1 as you go to 123 before they should book you. What do? 2 Ks over, they book you. Why? They want revenue. This is not about safety. This is not about it. That's all lies. And as I said to this secretary today, because I did bring it up, the stupidity of their so-called laws. You drive down the road doing absolutely nothing wrong. You get pulled over by a cop. It's 10 o'clock at night. You're tired. You want to go home. They pull you over, blowing this. I don't want to blow in that. If you don't blow on this, you get arrested and charged with maximum drink driving charge. In other words, they're saying, you're drunk, blow in this and prove you're sober. Where is the evidence that you're wandering all over the place, can't stand on your feet, giddy, whatever, from the effects of alcohol? There isn't any. What right do they have to force you to blow into a piece of pipe? We're sovereign. We're supreme. Who the hell gave them this right? No one. Why are they exercising that right? Because they're trying to exercise a dictatorship. With the 1999 referendum, we said no to a republic. Well, we got it. We got it. They reversed the rule of law. So when you go into court, you are 100% guilty until you come up with some miraculous idea that you didn't do it. How does that work? It's gone completely against it. What was the referendum? Howard said in the referendum, we accept that Aboriginals are the first inhabitants of Australia and we accept the rule of law. That's a Roman rule of law, the reversal of it. When we said no, they put it in anyway. Where did all that nonsense came from? 1988 Constitutional Convention we had nothing to do with. And that I'll bring up at our meeting later. The whole problem is they are lying to us. They put in place a green slime constitution in 2003. They removed the annotations to ours, which were an accurate public record of the interpretation according to the people who put our constitution together. Page 676 says the parliament is not supreme, and the very essence of federation is that that must be so. The parliament, like everybody else, is subject to the constitution and the law and must abide by it. That's in accordance with the Hansard 1898, where any semblance of sovereignty to the parliament is removed and goes with the people at federation. So that's correct. Page 791, the middle of the last paragraph says, neither the federal nor the state parliament are sovereign bodies. They're simply legislatures with limited authority. If they pass a law in excess of that authority, the law is a nullity, affords no obedience. Well, in 1947, the Chief Justice then said, we can ignore unlawful laws with impunity. Well, we can't. We can't. If you say, I'm not taking a breath test because I haven't been drinking, they arrest you and charge you. You go to court and they say, too bad, you lose your license for 6 months or 12 months, whatever the maximum penalty is, get a big stack of money and you've never had a drink in your life. How does that work? Where's the evidence? This crap come out in America and they squashed it pretty clear. Now you've got to stand on one foot, point at your nose, all that stuff. We used to do it here. Why'd they take it out? It's money. It has nothing to do with saving lives. That's all lies. Stupidity, tiredness, I get that. Driving at high speed, I get that. Kills people. So does driving along at 110 k's an hour in a car with an automatic, power steering, cruise control, and nice soft music. Of course you're going to go to sleep. Why are you going to fight it? There's two things you can do. Get rid of half that junk out of the car or increase the speed to 130 k's an hour where people will have to drive their car. Have to drive it. So what do? Get rid of the soft music. You're not allowed to talk on your phone. But what is a cop doing sitting like this, doing this and talking on a microphone? How is that driving properly? And turns around, books somebody talking on a phone. I agree, no texting. And it shouldn't be points and a fine. It should be at least 2 years suspension if you're texting because you're looking down like this. How can you look at the road? That's reckless driving. I agree. I don't agree somebody has pressed the button on the phone that's talking like this while they're driving because the cops are doing the same.
Yep.
How can you book us and half of them are tired because they change shifts at the end of every week, and yet they come and book you for something they're doing. And some of them have been caught actually talking on the phone.
It's almost as if they act like they're in a law of their own.
Well, they are because they're public officers. A public officer is an employee of a company. If you are a sworn officer of the Crown, you're a Commonwealth public officer. You're an employee of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth through the Bar Association, British Accreditation Registry, a sworn officer of the Crown to uphold all the common law. They're just public officers. There was a big to-do here about, all these police being bashed up. They're still being bashed up now. The same amount of being bashed up now that were bashed up before. Why did they bring a law in that assaulting a public officer? It was aggravated assault on a police officer. You went to jail. Or a female, you went to jail. Why did they do it? Because they turned the police from officers of the Crown to officers of a company with an ABN number. And that is the problem we got. We're working against companies telling us what to do. And all those companies, 18 of them, are registered in America. Why? Why are they there?
Should all of these politicians be getting charged with treason? Because at the end of the day, they're violating the will of the people. They're getting rid of all of our constitution, essentially with all of these acts. And it's not what we want. And they're removing all of our rights and remedies. Should they be all charged with treason and hung, essentially?
Well, 1948 Felony Treason Act, if you change the name of the Crown, you go to jail for life or transport to the colonies or put to death. And that is, I think it's Halsbury's Laws of England that's in. Yeah, volume 2. And that says that. But in Wheeler, Pullman and Bus in Glew versus the Greenwich Shire, they ruled, Section 8 of the Acts Amendment repeals Court and Legal Practice Act. Never removed the Crown, just changed the name. They just admitted to, the transcript shows, I served in 3 documents. They were indictments for treason. And they were served on them, and they were put into the court in Victoria. Nothing's ever happened about it. And I told this magistrate, and he's, what happened? I said, you people are sitting on them because you won't charge these 3 traitors because you want what you got, treason. Now, treason also is under Section 83 of the Commonwealth Criminal Code. 83A is treason, 83B is misprision treason. That treason is when they breach the oath of allegiance they owe to the people, which is the oath to Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, oath or affirmation. all these people sitting in the federal parliament and sworn on the Quran are committed treason just by swearing on it. They are required to swear the oath in our constitution. It's nothing to do with their religion. Go back, swear the correct oath, or get the hell out of our parliament. You have no right to be there. End of the story. Now, these people know that. The government knows it. They just misprision of treason, which is concealing it. Now, what are they going to do about it? Nothing. Every time a politician gets up and swears on the Quran, the Book of Mormon, Jehovah's Witness book, Seventh-day Adventist book, or even the Catholic Bible, they have committed an act of treason. The only instrument that constitutes a court in this country is the King James Bible. The only instrument can be used to constitute an office of the Parliament is the King James Bible, 1611. It's a part of the common law. Why? Because when you look at that oath, that is a covenant between you and the Crown of England to uphold the Protestant faith and the Church of England. Do we have the Church of England anymore? No. They removed it after the 1999 referendum. They produced the Anglican Catholic Corporations Act. So the Anglican Church is now a corporation and part of the Catholic Church. They got rid of the Church of England. Why? Take away our land rights, which are contained in all the acts held in the Church of England. Magna Carta, 1297. Habeas Corpus, 1688 Bill of Rights. Act of Settlement, Chalice Rule Property, Halsbury's Laws of England. All gone because they swear the unlawful oath. People must realise how they did it. That's how they did it. I mean, I spent a lot of years studying this. People say, oh, you, like the stupid magistrate started mocking me saying, oh, you tell everybody you know everything about the constitutional law. I said, no, I don't. But I'm learning. I've given an award for what I've learned so far, and I'm still learning. So don't mock me. And he started again. I said, listen, don't mock me. You have no right to do what you're doing. You're the only one who said you know everything, and you know nothing, apparently. You know all about your acts and statutes. You know nothing about the law, and that's a fact. And you know yourself, you go on this site, there are no transcripts of those 4 days of court. None.
No. I tried to do a search yesterday and today.
Yeah, there's none.
All right, Wayne. Thank you for your time today. I'm sure everyone who's been watching these 2 live videos has thoroughly enjoyed it. I know I have. So everyone, just keep in mind we are doing national seminars. The first one is being held on the 4th of May here in Perth. There's a link on the Facebook page to Eventbrite to get your tickets. Wayne will be doing a 3-hour seminar there in a lovely theatre with an hour and a half free barbecue lunch and meet and greet with Wayne. And as soon as we have numbers in other states, Wayne and I will be going around to the rest of the country to do a bunch of seminars and educate people on this issue. Once again, thank you, Wayne.
You're welcome.
And great to talk to you, and I believe we'll be probably doing one like this fairly soon.
Yep, not a problem at all. I've got a couple of weeks where I'm going to have a bit of a rest and do some more videos for Facebook to really give the Parliament hemorrhoids. I'm trying to find a place where I can buy a cheap hemorrhoid cream and send them a box each because they're going to need it when I finish with them.
Oh, yeah. Also, send them to Bunnings and get them to get a tube of toughen the hell up.
No, I got a friend that manages Bunnings. He's a real nice guy. I wouldn't do that to him, but he should be able to arrange cheap boxes of hemorrhoid cream for him anyway. Yeah, no worries. All right, good talking to you.
Likewise, and we'll probably do another video soon, everyone. Probably in the next few days or so, maybe a week. But jump online to the Perth seminar.
All right, catch you later, eh?
See you guys.
See you, mate.